What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Simple Minds as we return to Real Cacophony. I did want to mention, I'm going to try to mention this in most of my reactions this weekend, and it's maybe relevant here because I know some people who follow this deep dive follow The Cure and some other deep dives I do. That is to say, for 4, maybe 5 days in the coming week, I'm going to do a little special series called Classical Days, where I'm going to focus on classical music. It's a genre that I do react to occasionally, but I've been listening to a lot of classical music recently, and I just feel like doing a extended session of like full symphonies and concertos and so on. So that means that probably The Cure Thursday, which I usually do, maybe push back a day or two, maybe even just skipping until the next week. But the point is, things will be a little bit different for 4 to 5 days next week, and then they will return to normal after that. So for those who aren't really into classical music, I apologize, but bear with me, and we will return to normal service by next weekend. In any case, the next tune here on Real Cacophony is Veldt, which I think refers to a type of like grassland or savanna. I think it's specifically used in relation to some ecosystems in or on the continent of Africa. I think it's also a short story by Ray Bradbury, if I'm remembering correctly, and I think it's a little bit, or it's used a little bit differently in that context, but yeah, I don't really know what to expect. It is a, let's say, less common word, and it is a single word title, so there's no additional context to give us a sense of what might be happening here. I'll try to catch what I can. This is Simple Minds. The tune is Veldt, I believe, and it's from their 1979 album, Real Cacophony. So many things to say. Okay, first of all, the idea that less than a decade later, this same band that just recorded that song would be recording something like Don't You Forget About Me is remarkable. Secondarily, I love the idea of studio executives, who make decisions based on marketability and so on. And yes, I get maybe in some cases they are more sympathetic to our artistic license and integrity and a band being able to do what they want creatively. But I love the idea of executives sort of like, maybe I just don't get this. Maybe this is just artistic beyond what I know. But it seems like the kind of track that would challenge any listener in terms of melody, or the idea. I feel like some people would hear this and like, is this even music? It's like this abstract dissonant art. So yes, it's not the kind of tune I think you would choose as a single to play on the radio, but it definitely has some crazy creativity to it. I mean, first, right away, my sense is, oh wait, I think we are out on the grasslands, on the veldt. It has these animalistic sounds, this din of an insect, a like tribal chant. But then the more it went on, and it was almost like, again, daring my brain to follow the dissonance and the like wicked intense sonics, it felt like a fever dream, or like a psilocybin dream of a grassland savanna type environment, not like a true experience sonically of being out on the savanna or the veldt, but instead like if you were under very intense psychedelics that had sort of taken a bad turn and had you on a bad trip, and you were in that environment. That's what it felt like. And by the end, again, these like echoed vocals, it's like you're in some fever dream, and you have this like sweaty, you're trying to wake up but you can't, you're like half lucid. Like it really felt like it was intended to be an endurance test for the listener. But I don't think it's unpleasant. Like, I think it's an enjoyable experience, but not what I would call like a song per se, right? Like there's no chorus, there's no like verses. There's just these abstract sounds and like lived in world sounds, but again, sort of twisted through a distorted mirror, or again, someone's dark fever dream. So yeah, it's crazy. And again, their evolution as a group is fascinating to me, because again, the first album had a lot of sounds where it's like, oh, it's kind of like this weird like art rock, glam rock. A couple songs reminded me of Roxy Music, and like this album has had some funky sounds and some, again, abstract sounds, for lack of a better word here. And then, of course, in the next couple albums, I know they're going to get into this, like, almost soundscape, like, soundtrack, like, synth rock type of vein. And then eventually kind of move into more of, like, a pop rock, like, arena rock type of sound. So the evolution of this band is just crazy. I should point out, speaking of this band, I did my first music video reaction to Simple Minds. I did a reaction to their video for Waterfront. I enjoy that tune, and I went on their YouTube page and I found a playlist which only had 6 videos in it. Thankfully, Flemish Giant, who comments on a lot of my video reactions over on Patreon, he showed me a link to a playlist which has more than that. I don't know if it's like 18 or something like that, 20 videos, but either way, I did a video reaction to the music video for Waterfront, which was very enjoyable and enlightening. It was like the first time I'd seen them perform. So if you're interested in that, I think it is still embargoed. Like if you become a full member, which you can do for as little as $5, then you can watch anything, including like, behind the scenes, like members only content over on my Patreon. But yeah, for the next few days, I think it's still embargoed for full members only. Within 3 or 4 days from now, I want to say, it'll be fully public and you can see it just as a free member. Nevertheless, I enjoyed that, and I will be doing more Simple Minds video reactions in the coming weeks and months. So yeah, let me know what you think of this crazy track. Again, like calling it a tune, I think, is still maybe even a distortion, but I don't think it's uninteresting, certainly not, and I don't think it's unpleasant. It's just, it is what it's designed to be, which is a crazy, wicked, feverish, like, psychedelic, cosmic, mental experience as much as anything else. So I guess maybe not cosmic, I guess terrestrial and Savannah based, but definitely a crazy experience sonically and conceptually. So, in any case, let me know what you think. As I said, look out for classical days in the coming week, but I will be back to normal service by the time we get to next weekend. Peace.